Maybe you want a family for yourself, and that's why you want to so desperately know about mine, but you're not allowed. Sorry, you're not part of this club, and you never will be. Instead, you could be in your really oddball club of oddly hyperfixated losers online. And if you want to call that your family, go for it, but I don't think it's going to get you very far in life.
Urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And Phil still doesn't understand how all this works. He believes the best course of action to keep his wife's name from permeating throughout the internet is to continue to mention her name. I mean, like I said, man, you just cannot make this stuff up. Phil, I don't know if you misunderstand the meaning of the term starve, but man, we eating good. Let's get into it.
Someone tipped $2 and said, if you root for another man's marriage to fall apart, you're mentally ill and you need to seek medical help. It's correct. He's talking about me because, again, these crazy obsessed people who don't like me on the internet have literally created a insane narrative. Their narrative is that my wife and I don't get along. We're not together. She left me, or we're separated or something. Like, they're actually rooting for that, and they're hoping for evidence of that.
No, I'm not saying that there's not some merit to what is being said here, but we have to get into the particulars, because people not wanting something to work on the surface is not enough. You got to get into why they don't want something to work. And people generally believe that you and Kat have a dysfunctional relationship, and that's largely based on your behavior on stream and how she acted when she was on stream. So people are not pulling this out of nowhere. You know, you are laying the groundwork for the thought process that people have about this situation.
It was hilarious. A few weeks ago, someone said, oh, so they found the evidence. It's completely false. There can't be any evidence because what they're saying is completely untrue. So whatever evidence they have, they've made up. You know, I told you guys years ago, they actually attempted to file divorce papers in our name when we weren't involved.
Now, I don't know how true that is. Y'all let me know, but I'm going to keep it a buck. That is crazy. Look, there is a line, okay, where things are going a bit too far. I think you can place that in the bin of things going a bit too far. But I'm going to continue.
Spoiler alert. You can't do that. You could try, but the moment that you have to prove your identity, it fails. So they basically tried to initially start the process impersonating me and pretending like, you know, like identity theft stuff. But then it didn't work because they couldn't prove that they were me. So, yeah, I mean, there's many, many idiotic things that they have done. And this is one of their most broken narratives because they can't possibly believe that what I say is true. Now, here's what I've said.
Well, a lot of what people are saying about this particular situation is largely based on how you handle previous relationships when they begin to end, right? You yourself said that you lied for, what, 2 years or a year or whatever it was when you and Panda Lee's relationship ended. So naturally, people would not give you the benefit of the doubt when it comes to these things because you have not earned it, right? On the contrary, you're known for being a liar. So are people tripping because they don't believe the things you say? Or are they believing their ears in the things that you've done in the past, right? It's a logical course of action to not believe you, Phil. It would be crazy to believe you.
My wife actually would like to be a part of my content. She's expressed interest over the years. Initially, many, many years ago, she wanted to be part of my Halloween event. We bought her a Halloween costume, right? She dressed up with me on a Halloween stream. The moment she sat down to play games, the trolls came in and started saying absolutely disgusting things about her. You know, horrible things about her.
No, I'm not saying that what he's saying here isn't true. I'm sure it is. But Phil, let's not act like you did not know that was going to happen. And this is the issue that I have with what he's laying out here. You largely orchestrated this because you didn't have anything else for your non-tent. Let's be real about it, but we're going to touch on that a little bit later.
Her appearance, horrible sexual comments, just terrible things, right? Unlike me, where I don't really give two shits what anyone says about me because I've been doing this for 17 years. It got to her. So during the stream, she visibly basically became distressed. And after like a couple hours, she said, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to see these comments. They're bothering me. Then she was literally off my streams for what? Shit, 7 years, something like that, 6 years. And then it was early 2024. And then we decided maybe it was time to try again.
No, you decided it was time to try again because, like I said, you didn't have anything lined up in terms of content that you thought was compelling or entertaining enough. You were floundering. So you went to your old bag of tricks, right? And you used your wife as a prop to prop up your streams. And it backfired. Now, you experienced short-term success, right? Because the Dents were in glee and they were excited to see the Queen Dent, right? But long-term, you suffered for it because look at what you're talking about now. Even though you claim you're not feeding us, what is this?
Okay. And we wanted to do something that was very fun. And so we both were going to be playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And we heard that it was going to have this virtual island side mini game where basically it's kind of like having like Animal Crossing, where there's an island that you're going to be building up and you have residents who live there and you interact with them all. It's not, admittedly, it's not what it ended up being. It ended up being a big slog and repetitive grind of time sink that really didn't pay off if you did it. They basically pushed it as something that it wasn't. So when the game came out, it was actually kind of a disappointment that that's what it ended up being. So anyway, we said that we were going to do this co-op. And she showed up for, I think it was 2 to 3 streams of that. Again, during that time frame, what did my haters and trolls do? Clip farm. Look, she's distressed. Look, she's insulting her appearance and things like that.
Well, she did look like, I wouldn't say distressed, but she definitely looked annoyed as if she did not want to be there. She looked like someone who was coerced. I'm not going to say you forced her because she's a grown woman, but I'm sure you did your version of convincing her to come on the stream. It looked like somebody who did not want to be there. I mean, let's just be real about it. The second you gave her the pass to leave, she was out of there. That's probably the fastest Kat ever moved in her life.
Left, right, up, and down. Horrible things. So after that, basically after that experience, we decided that's it. There's no point anymore. Because for having her in the content, for as nice as it is to maybe have my wife in my content every once in a while, all you're doing is you're giving people the fuel that they want to make toxic content.
Now, did you know that before or after you trotted her out on the stream? You knew exactly what the backlash is going to be because according to you, you've been dealing with this for a long time. So why are you acting surprised? You knew that you were essentially throwing your wife to the wolves to give yourself a chance to escape. That's what happened.
You are essentially giving them a clip mill, right? It's the same as me playing Battlefield. It's the same as if I decided to do something that would give my haters opportunity to try to mess with it. Like, oh, let's do a fan lobby. It would never work because they would take every spot in the lobby and they would sit there with horrible names, doxing, racist stuff, sexist stuff, things about my wife and family members. That's what they do. They want attention.
Now, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but don't certain games or some games, can't you set up like a private lobby where there's a stream key or something like that, or a lobby key that you can give to individuals and only those people can get into the stream? I'm pretty sure that function exists. I'm not sure if that's in what particular game that's in, but that's pertinent because over the course of the years, I'm sure Phil has played some game that has that feature because according to him, he's a variety streamer. And it's just interesting to me that he's never tried to actually use that feature because we know, Phil, you really don't want to interact with these people outside of them giving you money and you shouting them out on stream. And even though you do when you need to, it's not something that you're particularly fond of.
When you realize, oh, this is a way for them to get what they want, you starve them. You don't give them what they want. Okay? So after that experience with doing the Dondoko Island and basically her losing interest in it, I did too. It was boring as hell. And basically, again, more internet bullying. She said, I just don't want to do it anymore. And I said, I'm with you.
Dondoko Island or whatever it's called was boring because, Phil, even though you're a gaming content creator, you still don't understand how to make the content concise and appeal to what people are looking for. You had her on stream grinding something that she had already grinded, and you thought she was going to be excited about it. I mean, come on, man. You should show people how to grind, or you show them the outcome after the grind. But you had her actually on stream grinding. It was nothing appealing about it. And you thought that her appearing would be enough to carry the stream by itself. You completely forgot that you still had to be entertaining. And that's why it failed.
100%. I don't see the point. You know, it's not like we're missing out on amazing content that we could be making together because you're not there. I don't do co-op stuff as it is. Like,
What does that mean, though? Listen to how he speaks about his wife. He said, it's not as if we can make amazing content anyway. Why not? And why would you say something like that, even if that's what you actually believe? It's your job to protect her. You should assume this doesn't make any sense. You're out here trying to act as her ambassador, but you're burying her, Phil. Stop talking.
it's not like I'm known for co-op and now I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? We tried it. It would have worked if we eventually tried more games. Like we were actually going to play Beyond Two Souls. I bought the game. We were ready to do the co-op. And then basically we decided against it. We're like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to do this because that's just what these idiots want. They want that content so they can have more toxic things to say.
No, does anybody really believe that? Because if you catch what he said that it would have worked if they would have played quote unquote more games. And I do believe that within the confines of what Phil believes is quote unquote working, it would have, right? It would have. But he didn't take the time to actually allow it to grow into anything meaningful, because the second something doesn't make money or it begins to not be profitable for him, he scraps it. And we have countless examples to point to prove that.
So the reason that my detractors and haters bring up my wife so much is very simple, because we starve them of content for her. So because they have nothing, they want what they can't have. Get it? If she was on the stream every day, it wouldn't be a big deal anymore because she's on the stream every day. And therefore it would become a commonplace thing. They wouldn't care. But because she's not on the stream, because she's only been in very few pieces of my content ever, and we've given them nearly nothing to ever work with, they can't stop obsessing. They literally hyperfixate on my wife, trying to get information about her past, about her physical appearance, about all kinds of shit, because they're not allowed to have that information.
You notice when he went into his list, the list was very light. And you can even take one of those things off. Awesome, their physical appearance. Look, nobody is stalking KAT. Because by extension, if they were stalking KAT, they'll be stalking you. Don't y'all live together? Don't y'all sit in the house all day, every day, aside from her going to her part-time job that she waddles to according to you? That's what you said, right? So you can claim that there's this hyperfixation on people trying to know what's going on with KAT, but it's really not about what's going on with KAT. People want to know if you're telling the truth. So it's the same fervor that people have when you talk about WWE champions, when you talk about the bank leaks, when you talk about any of the things that you've been known to be lying about. So it's not about KAT in particular. It's about you lying about something, Phil. My goodness.
It's none of their business. She is not my business. She is not in my content. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason to give them any information at all. You know, every once in a while, I talk about our day off or something that we're doing or something she's cooked. That's all you get. That's literally all you will get.
And the truth is that should have been the extent of it to begin with. But you decided to cross that line because you needed her for content, Phil. Why are you not acknowledging why you brung her on stream to begin with? You're acting like this was something that was organic. Y'all was just sitting around the fire having tea, and you was like, oh, and she was like, oh, babe, it's been so long since I've been on stream, and I've really just been craving it. No, that did not happen. You were probably complaining and bitching about how you couldn't pay for this or pay for that, and you were spitballing ideas, and she thought all of them were terrible, and she was like, look, I'll just come on stream, because she knew it would give you a shot in the arm. And instead of you being grateful for her showing up on stream, both knowing what was going to happen, here you are complaining. It's ridiculous.
Because anything further than that becomes harmful with these idiots. Again, hyperfixating. eternally online, socially broken losers. All they do is sit online all day, no actual real life social interactions with anyone. They probably don't even have social skills. They're probably fucking mentally deficient, emotionally deficient people who think it's okay to just stalk people online all day. So that's why we don't give them what they want. But you're right. It's messed up that they ever would have thought to try to stalk my wife or say horrible things about my wife. They don't know anything about my wife. They still don't, and they never will, because we don't give them anything to know. So they can say whatever they want. It doesn't mean anything. And that's the truth, is anyone who hyperfixates on someone who's not directly involved obviously is a loser, a fucking mentally ill person who knows that they're not allowed.
So if this is all the case, then because you've put information out into the ether about KAT, most of what people know about KAT came from you, Phil. It's not, you act like people are digging through archives and they're discovering things. No, it's because of you running your damn mouth. It's always been like that. And this is you, once again, trying to run damage control on a situation that you created, knowing what the outcome was going to be. KAT knew what the outcome was going to be.
You're not part of this inclusive group. You're not part of my family. You're never going to be part of my family. Maybe.
Now, this part here is intriguing because the question here is, who is he addressing? Are you talking to detractors? So what detractors are sitting around jockeying for the open position in the Burnell family? Is there an opening in the snort fort and detractors are applying? Is that what you're implying? Or are you talking to your dents here? See, this is why you need to stop running your damn mouth so much, because you start to loop on yourself and then you end up contradicting yourself and or talking about things that really don't make any sense. Who are you addressing here?
Maybe you want a family for yourself, and that's why you want to so desperately know about mine, but you're not allowed. Sorry, you're not part of this club, and you never will be. Instead, you could be in your really oddball club of oddly hyperfixated losers online. And if you want to call that your family, go for it, but I don't think it's going to get you very far in life.
You see, Phil, trying to recondition the dents, trying to create a line in the sand, us versus them, even though we still don't quite know who them is. Phil, you're your biggest worst enemy, man, and you're also KAT's worst enemy. Seriously, because you've created a scenario for yourself and her that neither one of you are actually going to be able to get out of, aside from you hitting the lottery on some off chance. It's not going to happen. And so your best chance of trying to make this work is hopefully you can string together these streams for the next couple of years, and hopefully you get something from your parents when they eventually pass on, because I don't see you getting any other influx of income in any meaningful way where you can really turn this around. This is it for you, Phil, and her.
Okay. Let's see here. Nick Smith did a $2 super chat. Is there a way for her to be to be there but not on screen? Why would she want to be here and not on screen? Again, like what? Honestly, what? Here's how KAT is a part of my life. Okay, the moment that I turn this camera off and I walk out of this room, I spend my time with her constantly, and I love it.
You notice that? The moment he leaves out the room, he spends all his time with KAT constantly. Now, isn't that a bizarre way to say that you love your wife, right? Constantly, the way he said it is almost as if he's trying to convince us that's what's actually happened behind the scenes. But he still doesn't understand why people poke and prod, because this is not what you're portraying on stream daily, Phil, even though this is what you're saying. So it gives people cause to pause to say, what he's saying is not lining up with the things that he's doing. Maybe he's lying to us. He still don't understand, man. It's crazy.
She is my significant other. She's my best friend. I don't need to also include her into this part of my life. It's not needed. It's just not. In fact, having that separation between work life, online presence, and in real life existence is an insanely good, healthy thing to do. Crazy healthy for you. You should have a separation of the virtual and the real.
Well, if that's what you actually believe, right? This is your conviction, then that tells us that you actually were desperate when you rolled cat on out the stream. It wasn't some moral or family thing that you were doing to have fun with your community. It's something that you needed to do. It was a spade, a card that you were holding in your back pocket for a situation that really called for it, right? Because those are two contradictory things. You're talking about we should separate this and separate that. Did it take you till you were damn near 50 years old to figure that out? No, this is something you've known for a very long time, which means you trotted her out there because you needed it. It was financially feasible for you to do it, and you didn't care that she was going to get ridiculed online. Because how could you? You're disgusting, bro.
That way, you can have a split, and you're not constantly having that life be permeating into your own. Do you see what I'm saying? Like a lot of people say to me, do you play games outside of what you play on stream? No, because I play games so much on stream. Why would I want to play games out there in my real life?
What they should have asked you is, do you play games that you like off stream? Because then the answer would have been yes, because we know you're playing games off stream, because not even a couple weeks ago, when you were having one of your quote unquote honest moments, you said that you were playing mobile games, plural, with an S. So we know, yes, you are gaming off stream. You're just playing the games you actually like off stream. And again, it's another missed opportunity, Phil, because you mentioned that you're playing new mobile games. Why would you not start new accounts and stream those games? And people, your dents, can actually see you enjoying something. Like, this dude is out of control, man. Every single time there's a chance or an opportunity for him to make this right, he always chooses the absolute wrong thing to do.
This is my virtual online existence, my work. That's my real life. I want separation between the two. That's a very healthy thing. The last thing I would want is stress from this permeating into that. See? So, no, I don't need to have my wife in my content. No, she doesn't have to be off screen, but still, there's no reason for it.
The reason would be your audience. Obviously, they are fond of her, and they will be interested to hear the things that they have to say. So you can have the best of both worlds. They can get what they want, and Kat can avoid ridicule because people will not be able to see her. But you just cannot see the forest for the damn trees, man. Like, you can never see the silver lining in anything. Everything is always just overly negative all the time.
Someone tipped $2 says, screw the trolls. It sucks that you and your wife just can't have fun and that some of her choices are influenced by them. You're right. I agree with you. Like I said, excuse me. The problem with people, again, who live eternally online is that they tend to become, how can I say? They tend to become desensitized. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're eternally online, you see constant online bullying, constant online harassment, constant online trolling, and it becomes the norm. So when you're eternally online, you're like, oh, it's no big deal if someone says this about someone or acts like this about someone or harasses someone or makes nasty posts about someone or does this or that. In reality, the truth is all of that stuff is unacceptable.
So again, he's showcasing how much he understands how the internet works in terms of trolling and people saying untoward things about his woman. So once again, why did you put her in the firing line? Because back then, and even now, you're still trying to portray it as if she should be victimized in some way. And I do think that to a certain degree she should. But you know what comes with you. So naturally, you knew what would have happened. This is why none of this stuff really makes sense and nobody's buying this, especially not coming from you. Every chance you get to where there's an opportunity where you should protect her, you do the exact opposite.
But we're just so desensitized to it because it's become the norm online that basically we're kind of like, well, just expect it, right? We shouldn't expect it. As human society, we shouldn't expect it and condone it and be like, that's fine. We should actually point at it and say, that's wrong, that's busted, that's morally completely unacceptable, and we should call out the people who do it, and we should put them over the coals.
Put them over the coals. You hear this guy? This is definitely cult speech, Phil. I'm not sure what you're getting at here, but it sounds a little extreme. Now, Phil, this point only really makes sense if you are conflating things. And what do I mean by that? He is conflating trolling, harassing with just anybody critiquing him or saying something negative about him on the internet, right? And he doesn't understand that's really how you grow, is when you listen to and take in feedback. And yeah, some of the harshest things you say or that you hear are going to come from some of your biggest critics. But sometimes you have to ignore the messenger and take in the message, Phil. My goodness.
But instead, people applaud these people. Oh, hilarious. Oh, it's so good when this person roasts this person and says awful things about this person and their family members. Oh, it's so good. In fact, let's give them money and let's do that. No, that's a busted society. That's socially broken. That's immoral. That shouldn't exist. And people shouldn't applaud it and reward it. They should call it out and chastise it and criticize it and condemn it and make sure that it doesn't happen. But instead, we have a weird, broken, again, eternally online society that thinks that this is the norm when it's not.
See, once again, Phil, you're not making sense. You're not. Because if you ask the average person what their perception is and what do they think what should happen to people that stalk people, they'll tell you that that's wrong and something should be done about that. What you're trying to proclaim is that people are turning a blind eye to things in mass because you think what's going on in your life or in your world is the world. You don't understand just how small your bubble really is, but you speak in these grandiose, big terms as if it applies across the board, and it just doesn't.
We shouldn't be desensitized to organized online bullying, and we shouldn't reward it. Okay? But the point I'm making here is, for those of us who are online all the time, we're used to it. For those of us who are not online all the time, they're not used to it.
Wait, I thought you said you were not online all the time, Phil. Now here you are talking about how you're online all the time and you're used to it. See, the devil always speaks with a forked tongue. Just give him enough time and he'll tell on himself. This is why, in my opinion, it's always best to really just allow Phil to have these long, drawn out segments where he's really just talking to himself. Because he'll loop a few times, but if you pay attention, at some point, he's going to tell on himself.
Normal people think that that kind of behavior is sick, twisted, and busted, and it actually affects them in a really bad, negative way. Okay? My wife, as much as she knows that online bullying is bullshit, doesn't mean anything, it still gets to her. You know, twice, 2 times, once during that Halloween event, and then when we were doing the Dondoko Island stuff, she's tried to be a part of my content. And every time that the online bullying begins, it bothers her and she just doesn't want to do it anymore.
Well, Queen Dent should have thought about that before she was serenading you through Patreon. She should have thought about that. Now, if what I'm to believe is the truth, from the things that I'm hearing about her previous relationship, it sounds like she was already dealing with somebody, which means she was cheating on them to try to get to you, allegedly, right? So we're not going to put KAT on this crazy moral high ground because she was willing to forego what most people would consider to be morally wrong in order to get to you, right? A means to an end. So in many ways, y'all are alike, which is why I can see y'all have been together for so long. So you can try to paint her as a victim, but she's also complicit in a lot of this stuff.
Even though she was determined to not let it get to her, and she was convinced that this time it wouldn't bother her, it bothers her every time. That's just the kind of person she is. That's not a fault at all. And the truth is, she shouldn't have to put up with online bullying simply because she's my wife.
Or y'all can just ignore it. You bringing light to it only makes it happen more. You don't understand the concept of festering or copycatting, or you portraying how something bothers you. So naturally, if somebody's a troll, they're going to do it more. The reason why you have so many trolls is because you produce so much food for them to eat, Phil. This is your making, okay? You keep trying to act as if you act sad enough, or if you portray yourself like a victim long enough, that maybe the trolls would just go away. But the trolls can see through your bullshit. So to them, it's just a facade. It might work on some people here and there, but the trolls can see right through it. So ultimately, you're just wasting your time. If you don't want KAT being talked about, Keep her out of your content. Don't mention her. Act as if she does not exist. Create a real separation in between your online persona, quote unquote, and your fake ass personal life.
Just because she desires to be in a piece of content that I'm doing and wants to add something, why does that now make her a target for harassment by thousands of no-life losers on the internet who literally live on the internet and have no fucking lives of their own?
Well, how do you know that? But the truth is, by extension, Phil, and you should understand that that's why it's incumbent upon you to protect her. It's the same reason why Spider-Man and Batman wear masks. It's not to protect themselves. They can deal with it. It's to protect the people around them. Okay? And you've been in this game for a long time. So you should understand how this works. Earlier, you explained how it worked. So you put her out there in front of the trolls. Trolls did what trolls did. And now you're talking about how it's bad trolls and it should never happen. Like, that doesn't make sense. You have to understand that there's going to be an element of people that are going to do what they want to do regardless. And it just is what it is. My goodness.
They're not happily married. They don't have a nice house. They don't have a nice social relationship with another person. They never could have that because they're fucked in the head. So they sit online and make fun of people who have that. You see what I'm saying? So it's just so messed up. That's how it is, right? So when you wonder, why is my wife not in shit? It's pretty simple. Normal people would look at this situation from the outside and be like, oh my God, the 2 times she's in Phil's content, she gets mass harassed. To this day, people are still saying fucked up stuff about her, despite the fact that she's not a part of his content, doesn't say anything bad. You know, that's really awful.
Well, the reason why a lot of people don't come to her defense is because you're such a despicable person, Phil. Seriously, because if you had even one redeemable quality, when that stuff went down with Kat, it would be a lot of people actually defending her like, hey, man, leave her out of it, you know. And I'm sure to some people, they still give you that benefit of the doubt. But if you keep watching him, I'm sure he will lose it. And that's what you're not understanding, Phil. You pile on so much toxic nonsense that you make it impossible for people to like you, man. Seriously. You're just a very unlikable person. And every time you get an opportunity to maybe turn that around a little bit, you double down. So even if somebody was trying to give you a chance, all you do is squander it. And it's not even like you kind of squander it, man. Like you airball entirely. It's like you don't even know what you're doing. And this is why I say, like, what really is this about, man? You trying to garner sympathy from the trolls? Who are you talking to here? Because it sounds like you're self-soothing, like you always do during these segments that you claim aren't podcasts, but are. It's ridiculous.
But only normal people who live offline would understand that. Those of you who live online all day, you don't get it because you've been desensitized to it and you think it's okay when it's not. It's not at all. Like, literally, a single one of you, if you laugh at people who bully others online, if you enjoy their content, if you support it, you're fucked. You actually are mentally cracked.
See, now here he goes, trying to label people, acting as if he's some type of psychiatrist or therapist, right? And we know that what he's really doing is just projecting. That's it. He hopes that he can shame you into leaving him alone so he can scam his dent in peace. It's so ridiculous.
You're mentally deficient. You should seek help. You should go talk to professionals about it because they'll counsel you on how to get better and how to repair your psyche. Because normal people don't revel in the pain of others, particularly innocents who have nothing to do with anything, right? If there was a preschool that burned down, would you laugh that the kids died in the fire? Do you think that's funny?
Nobody on the planet that exists now or will come into existence or who are no longer with us will ever think children being burned down in a school is somehow funny, dude. And the fact that you have to create such an extreme example to try to bring merit to your point just shows that you should not be talking about this, man. Seriously. And there's a lot of things that you should not be talking about, because how can you equate somebody saying mean things to you or your wife on the damn internet to hundreds or potentially thousands of innocent children losing their lives, man? And this is why I say you should not be speaking. All that money you spending on WWE champions, you need to hire a PR person, seriously, and let them scrutinize and screen the things that you are going to say, because nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to view this from the perspective that you would like them to. The second you start talking about children losing their lives and trying to equate that to what you have going on, you completely lost the point, Phil, as you usually do. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.